Hello ladies and gentlemen, Top Hat Gaming Man here, appreciator of obscure systems and the fine wines of gaming that often have required a more sophisticated taste. Last week on this channel we looked at the Sega Mega Jet, which is a bizarre variant of the Sega Mega Drive designed specifically for use on Japanese airlines. In today's video we are going to be looking at yet another often overlooked strange Sega Mega Drive variant. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the story and history of the Sega WonderMega. Yeah! To understand the Sega WonderMega, we first have to go back to the Mega Drive, which was first released in Japan back in 1988. After a few years on the market, globally, Sega would soon become market leaders in the home console arena, topping sales of Nintendo's 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System. By late 1990, Nintendo would strike back with a 16-bit console of their very own, so to stay ahead of the game, Sega would respond with the release of the Sega Mega CD, which would reach Japan the following year in late 1991. The well-documented Mega CD allowed players to experience CD-based games, add hardware functionality such as a faster central processing unit, and offer some graphical improvements. The add-on would also play audio CDs and CD plus G discs. Further to all of this, the CD technology would offer much greater storage, meaning that games could be 320 times larger than cartridge-based games, leading to the creation of FMV games on the platform, such as the infamous Night Trap. As just mentioned, the Sega Mega CD was a system add-on, rather than a console in its own right. So, at the time, Mega CD games could only be experienced if you owned both the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Mega CD add-on to go with it. So, by 1992, a company known as Victor released the WonderMega, which was a combined Sega Mega Drive and Sega Mega CD all in one unit. So, at this point you may be asking, who exactly are Victor? And why were they trusted by Sega with releasing their own Sega game system? Well, the Victor brand in Japan is generally marketed as JVC to the rest of the world, which stands for Japan's Victor Company. The JVC brand itself actually popped up way back in 1927, when US-based Victor Talking Machine Company founded a Japanese subsidiary. By 1929, the huge US conglomerate merged with RCA, becoming RCA Victor in the process. However, Japan-based JVC retained its name and branding and was left completely unchanged. By the time World War II rolled around, JVC completely cut all ties with RCA Victor, becoming a standalone company in their own right with no ties to the United States. Over the years past these events, JVC reached huge levels of success, such as introducing the first ever Japanese televisions, manufacturing stereos, and even developing and bringing to the world the iconic VHS format. This company over the years has played a huge part in all of our lives, even if they are marketed as Victor as opposed to JVC on their home soil. So, with the track record the company has, it is no wonder whatsoever that Sega would be willing to work with such a brand when it comes to the production of hardware. In terms of the Sega Mega CD itself, when it came to designing the system, Sega of Japan partnered with Victor to make the device come to fruition. It is of note that within this deal, Victor would be allowed to make and sell platforms of their own that played Sega software, which is how the WonderMega came into existence. Victor, also known as JVC, published a variety of different games for the Sega Mega CD, including Kyo Flying Squadron, Star Wars Rebel Assault, and interestingly, the terrible game known as Wonder Dog. Wonder Dog was known as Victor's company mascot in Japan, so it is of no surprise really that the word Wonder is featured in the name of both Wonder Dog and the WonderMega system itself. In January of 1992, the development of the WonderMega was wrote about within EGM magazine. During this time period, neither Victor nor Sega had mentioned any technical nor design specifications regarding this new system, so the writer hypothesized two different routes the company could take with the hardware in terms of design. The first of these mentioned is a more conservative design that is very much in line with what the current existing Mega Drive Mega CD stack looked like. However, the article stated that this design would be less likely as it would be expensive to produce. The magazine's second proposal for the WonderMega, which they stated would be cheaper to produce, is much more in line with what would go on to become a reality. The removal of an expensive front mounting drawer would make the platform much cheaper to produce and would take inspiration from the design of the existing PC Engine Duo system. In March of 1992, UK magazine Computers and Video Games also published a story on the device, showing off another swanky concept design of the platform. The following month, the same magazine would once again report on the device, this time finally revealing what the platform would look like along with the device's high price point. The magazine reported that the device was launched at £330 in Japan, eclipsing the cost of both the Sega Mega Drive and Sega Mega CD combined. The article also reports that the platform doubles up as a karaoke machine and can easily be hooked up to a hi-fi for the ultimate Japanese experience. There were 4 variants released of the WonderMega, which we shall make our way through talking about in this video. However, the first model of WonderMega, known as the RG-M1, would come shipped with a compilation disc known as the WonderMega Collection, featuring Quiz Scramble, Flicky, Pyramid Magic and Paddle Fighter. For this model, Victor would also go on to launch a matching pair of speakers to go with it, known as the Wonder Sound. This version would also come with karaoke buttons for recording, mixing, audio-video output and MIDI output, and this very cool unique Victor branded controller. The second variant of the WonderMega, released in April of 1992, was actually released by Sega as opposed to Victor, and the only difference is that the system is emblazoned with a Sega logo instead of a Victor one. The WonderMega Mark II, also known as the Victor RG-M2, is a much more interesting variant of the device. This 1993 version of the system featured some rather interesting changes, most notably the introduction of infrared wireless controllers, in an era where wireless controllers were still somewhat of a rarity. These controllers also featured a wonderful 6 buttons as opposed to just 3, which was on most of the controllers with the early models. The RG-M2 also featured various cost-cutting measures, resulting in smaller units with sleeker designs. The final variant of the WonderMega did not see release until all the way in spring of 1994, when the system would finally debut in the United States of America, this time under the global JVC branding. This version of the platform is a variant of the Mark II and known as the JVC XI, dropping the WonderMega branding altogether. Potentially because the name Mega Drive or Mega CD were never used in the US to begin with. The XI is kind of a dumbed down version of the Mark II, in that the S-video connector on the Japanese model was dropped in favour of a 9-pin AV port, and the wireless controllers were dropped completely, making the US model all round much more lowbrow. Yuck. All in all, despite there being multiple different versions of the WonderMega coming into existence, the device was only manufactured in limited quantity, simply due to the fact there was not ever much of a demand for such a high-end gaming device. As mentioned previously, the WonderMega was much more expensive than both the Mega Drive and Mega CD combined, so consumers did not have much in the way of reasons to pay a premium for such a luxury. It is said that this expensive device features faster load times than the traditional Mega Drive, but when paying such a high price tag, it is no wonder that consumers stuck with cheaper means. So I guess the WonderMega is really only a system suitable for show-offs. Moving on from this, it is of note that JVC would go on to release their own Sega Saturn variant, known as the V Saturn, and in terms of Sega themselves, they would go on to release their own bespoke Mega Drive Mega CD all-in-one, known as the Multi-Mega. There is no reason why we cannot look at both of these systems in detail too down the line. However, those are both stories for another time. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the story of the Sega WonderMega. Let me know in the comment section which platform you would like to hear me cover next on here. Every single week, I take an in-depth look at the history of various games consoles, and I have a cornucopia of videos in my back catalogue for you to go back and enjoy. Make sure you subscribe to the Top Hat Gaming Man today. I look forward to hearing from you. Yeah! Finally, my channel Top Hat Gaming Man is funded by the fantastic support I receive from my amazing Patreon benefactors. I will always be here as long as you are here supporting me. So shout outs to Carl Johnson, Suka Kobayashi, JD Robbins, Greg Hooper, Lawrence C, Sint Spaces, Kevin Verhaley, Andrew Byzanski, Edward O'Reilly, Tom Elliott, Marcus Hines, The Gaming Muso, Quang DX, SpongeMap B, Michael Baker, and all of my other patrons. Thank you for helping me continue to build this empire.